This is just an update video on my A.O. Smith Tankless hot water heater. If you've watched my first video, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to help a few people out there that are going through the same thing I am and have gone through, and try to answer a few questions about other issues that you could encounter with one of these and how to possibly avoid them. All right, so anyhow, I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to flip this around, and I'm basically going to talk to you guys and then let you know I bought this tankless hot water heater, and it immediately solved our problems. We only have a 1,300 square foot home, habitable, and we remodeled. We added on an addition. We closed some outdoor areas in and made them part of the home. And it did increase our square footage. So we're somewhere around 1,700 square feet living space in this home. This is a 1960 built home. It's blocked. And the plumbing, it's one level. The plumbing is straight from this hot water heater. Let's just be generous and say 25 foot, maybe 30, to the main bathroom. And then the addition bathroom is only about 15 foot or less. And that is a huge difference. That's why we have so much success with this tankless hot water heater. It works because the plumbing does not have to go up and over and down into another level of the house. And if you have that and your home's bigger, then the flow of water not only is in more demand, the further away from the hot water heater you get, the more that water has time to travel. It's trying to cool back down. Even though it's delivering, to the faucet warm or hot, it's trying to cool back down, and that thing's got to keep up. Well, that has to do with your water. Do you have hard water? Is there sediment in there? Is it going to build up and restrict flow over time? Some people can have water so hard that within months they've got an issue with a clog or a fouled out element, whatever it may be. I've watched all these other videos, and there's not many on there about these. And if they are, it's all about, I'm having a problem getting it to my third level of my house or whatever. And they're installing tanks, and I get it. I understand all the principle and the theory of why they're doing all that. And it's probably something you would have to do in bigger homes unless you have multiple units being used, which could be an answer. Again, we haven't had any issues, and the last video I made was about the elements. Our TDS on our well water here is only about 108 coming straight out of the well. Most city water is 300 or higher, and plus you got chemicals, chlorine, everything else inside that water. So we are blessed with the kind of water we have. But again, it does have iron in it and things like that. That causes corrosion. That's what caused me to have to change out these elements. It was only one that was bad. So it was still doing its job with one element. It just wasn't getting as hot as we needed it to. And so we were experiencing brief intervals of, cooler water, and then it would come back out hot. I diagnosed all that. Showed you in the last video what I did. I changed out both elements. A.O. Smith, they literally were so good to us on customer service. They sent us everything for free. We didn't even have to pay for anything. They sent us extra little components and parts that probably will never use. Since they did that, this whole entire last year has been no problem with hot water, none whatsoever. And if we do experience anything, in my mind, I just know we got iron in our water. Slowly but surely, it will. That hard water sediment will start clogging up or corroding an element and causing it to fail on you. Even city water. The older your pipes are, the higher your TDS is going to be because sediment has built up on the inside of your pipes. But other than that, these things work. I love it. Like we don't have any issues with it at all. I do know that for those of you that are having to use tanks and try to figure out how to get hot water to different levels, I honestly, knowing a little bit about the industry, I really believe it's going to have to end up being that you have more than one unit of these in a home. And then you're getting into, are they really energy efficient? When you got to have more than one, why don't I just go back? That's got to be something, you choose and figure out what's best for your home. Hot water heater tank worked great here. We went to this about 4 or 5 years ago. We didn't have any issues. Then, like I said, when we did it, we just ended up being that. I still haven't put my valves on mine. That's something you need to do. You got to have clean out valves on them. And then that keeps you from even having a problem. If you can run a saline solution or whatever, a cleaning solution through there to clean those things off and then cap it back, turn the valve back off, that would save you from having to have any kind of problems. But I'm glad that I ended up having the issue just because it helped me to understand how these things work and how they can fail and why they can fail. And then I got on YouTube, I couldn't find any videos about A.O. Smith and tankless hot water heaters. It's just too new. And then when I did, it was basically all theory, people trying to figure out why theirs aren't working, and they're running tanks and auxiliary tanks and holding tanks, and all that stuff makes sense, like I said, but you really got to study out what's best for your home. If you live in a home such as ours, and you're not over 2,000 square foot, even 2,000 square foot, and your plumbing is not far, lengths in your bathrooms and stuff that you use hot water from the most are not a long distance from this tankless hot water heater, you're going to have a lot of success. You might deal with some element issues down the road, just like with a tank, but you're going to have a lot of success. We really do like it, and I hope I don't have to call them back, but I probably will. And A.O. Smith, big shout out to y'all. I appreciate your product. Thanks.